The scent of rain-soaked earth clings to the hem of my worn dress, a constant reminder of my place. Here, in the Silverwood Pack, status is everything. It is the richness of your pelt, the strength in your limbs, the power that thrums in your blood. I have none of these things. I am Elara, the wolfless cousin of our Alpha, a phantom haunting the halls of a house that is not my own. My existence is a whisper, a shame my cousin Marius wears like a poorly fitted cloak. He took me in when my parents passed, a gesture that looked like kindness to the pack, but felt like a leash around my throat. My world is small, confined to the kitchens, the gardens, the shadowed corners where no one important has to look at me. The other pack members see me as a void, an unsettling emptiness where a wolf should be. Their scents, a complex tapestry of pine, riverstone, and wild musk, tell me their rank, their mood, their intentions. I smell their pity, their disdain, and worst of all, their indifference. My own scent is disappointingly human, all herbs and soap and the faint, sweet smell of the flowers I tend. It marks me as incomplete. Marius reminds me of my uselessness daily. His voice, a low growl even when he is speaking, finds me wherever I hide. Still skulking about, Elara. You are a stain on this pack's honor, a constant reminder of weakness. His words are stones, and I have learned to build a wall with them inside myself, a fortress of quiet defiance. My rebellion is small. It is in the extra pinch of salt in his stew, the single weed I leave in the rose beds, the way I meet his furious gaze without flinching, even when my heart hammers against my ribs like a trapped bird. Survival is my only form of agency. Today, however, a different energy crackles through the pack house, a nervous excitement that smells like ozone before a storm. The Alpha King is coming. Kalen, the ruler of all packs in the Northern Alliance. His visit is a matter of great political importance, a chance for Marius to secure his standing, to grovel and posture and prove the strength of the Silverwood Pack. For me, it is just another day to make myself invisible. I am sent to the kitchens to help prepare the feast, my hands raw from scrubbing pots until they gleam, my knuckles aching. From the small, grimy window above the sink, I watch the preparations in the great yard. Banners bearing the Silverwood wolf are unfurled. The ceremonial fire pit is laid. Every wolf, from the highest-ranking warrior to the newest pup, is groomed and anxious. They want to be seen as strong, worthy, and loyal subjects. I just want the day to end. Then he arrives. The air shifts, growing heavy, charged with a power so immense it feels like a physical weight pressing down on me. The chatter in the kitchen dies. Every head turns toward the gates. I crane my neck, peering through the steam-fogged glass. He stands taller than any man I have ever seen, his presence a vortex that pulls all attention toward him. But it is not the sight of him that undoes me. It is the scent. It hits me like a physical blow, a scent that bypasses my mind and strikes something ancient and dormant deep within my soul. It is the sharp clean fragrance of pine needles crushed underfoot in the dead of winter, the bracing cold of the first frost, and the dark, rich earth sleeping beneath a blanket of snow. It is a scent that speaks of dominance, of solitude, of unyielding strength, and it is the other half of my own, my soul, a thing I did not even know was listening, recognizes it instantly. A single, silent word echoes in the hollow space inside me. Mate. For a breathless moment, hope, a feeling so foreign it is almost painful, unfurls in my chest. Hope that I am not broken. Hope that this crushing loneliness might have an end. This powerful king, this magnificent alpha of alphas, is my fated mate. Surely this changes everything. The bond, a mystical, unbreakable tether between two souls, is the most sacred law of our kind. It supersedes rank, power, and politics. He will see me, he will know me, and he will claim me. I will no longer be the wolfless outcast. I will be his. I press my hand to my chest, trying to calm the frantic beating of my heart. The scent is a call, a promise. I can feel him, a warm hum against my senses, even from this distance. He is moving toward the great hall, surrounded by Marius and the other pack elders. I have to see him up close. Abandoning my post, I slip out of the kitchen and into the throng of the lower-ranked pack members gathering in the hall to witness the welcome ceremony. I stay in the shadows, my plain gray dress a perfect camouflage against the stone walls. He stands before the hearth, the firelight catching the silver threads in his dark hair. His face is harsh, carved from granite, his eyes the color of a stormy sky. He radiates an aura of absolute command. Every wolf in the room, including my arrogant cousin, bows their head in deference. Their scents are a symphony of submission. And then his gaze sweeps the room. For a heart-stopping second, his eyes meet mine. The world narrows to the space between us. I see a flicker of surprise, of confusion in their depths. He smells it too. I know he does. The bond is a two-way street. The air crackles, and for the first time in my life, I feel a phantom stirring within me, a ghost of a wolf lifting its head to answer his call. But the moment is shattered by Marius, who steps forward, his posture obsequious. "Alpha King," he says, his voice booming with false sincerity. "We are honored by your presence. The Silverwood Pack is yours to command." He bows low, a serpent in wolf's clothing. Kalen's gaze breaks from mine, the connection snapping with a painful jolt. He turns his attention to my cousin. His voice, when he speaks, is a low rumble that vibrates through the floorboards. "Your loyalty is noted, Alpha Marius." The words are formal, cold. The king is not a man for pleasantries. Marius smiles, a greasy, self-satisfied expression. "I have more than just loyalty to offer, my king. I have a proposition, a trade, to solidify the alliance between my humble pack and your throne." He gestures grandly toward the shadows where I stand. "I offer you my cousin, Elara." A collective gasp ripples through the hall. All eyes turn to me. I freeze, pinned by 100 stares. The warmth of hope turns to ice in my veins. This cannot be happening. Marius's scent is thick with ambition and a cruel to triumphant glee. He is not offering me. He is selling me. She is wolfless, as you can see, Marius continues, his tone dismissive, as if describing livestock. Of little use here. But she is of my bloodline, a true daughter of Silverwood. Take her, as a ward, a symbol of my pack's eternal fealty. In exchange, I ask only for a formal title, to be named Lord of these woods, recognized and protected directly by the crown. The silence in the hall is absolute, broken only by the crackle of the fire. I am a piece of property on an auction block, my worth reduced to a political title for the man who was meant to protect me. I look at Kaelin, my mate, my one chance at a life, and I plead with my eyes. See me, know me, reject this. The bond between us is a frantic, silent scream. Mine. He is ours. Kaelin's stormy eyes assess me, lingering for a moment on my face before traveling down my simple dress. There is no recognition in his gaze now, no hint of the connection we just shared. There is only cold evaluation. I can smell his internal conflict. The scent of pine and frost is tainted with something else, something like burnt iron. The smell of duty warring with instinct. His jaw is tight, his expression unreadable. My cousin sold me. He sold me to the Alpha King for a title, and the king is considering it. The humiliation is a physical force, pressing the air from my lungs. Every wolf in this room is watching. They are watching the great Alpha King decide if a wolfless Omega is a fair price for a lordship. My heart, which had soared with such impossible hope only moments ago, plummets into a dark, cold abyss. I am chattel, a bargaining chip. Kaelin's gaze is heavy, analytical. I can feel him weighing the proposal. On one hand, the sacred bond, the pull of fate that his own wolf must be howling for. On the other, a wolfless mate, an Omega with no status, no power, no wolf to offer his bloodline. A political liability. To a king, what is a broken, wolfless girl compared to securing the loyalty of a border pack and strengthening his kingdom? His inner beast, the powerful lichen I can feel simmering just beneath his skin, must be raging. Mate, mate, mine. I can almost hear the primal roar in my own mind, a desperate echo from his. But the man, the king, is stronger than the beast. His face hardens, the internal conflict resolved. He gives a slow, deliberate nod. A fair trade, Lord Marius. He says the title, and my cousin swells with pride. A death sentence for me, a triumph for him. Kaelin's eyes, cold as glacial ice, lock onto mine. The deal is accepted. The words strike me with the force of a physical blow. A choked sound escapes my lips. No. But the sound is lost in the murmur of the crowd. He has agreed. He has bought me. My own mate has purchased me like a sack of grain. But the humiliation is not yet complete. As if sensing the bond that still thrums between us, a raw, open nerve, Kalen takes a step toward me. The crowd parts, leaving me exposed in the center of the hall. He stops a few feet away, his immense height casting me in shadow. The scent of pine and frost is overwhelming now, and it is laced with the cold finality of his decision. "Let it be known," he declares, his voice ringing with royal authority, projecting to every corner of the hall. "I, Kalen, Alpha King of the Northern Alliance, accept this offering." He pauses, and his next words are aimed at me, each one a perfectly sharpened dagger. "But the fates have made an error. There is no mate bond between us. I have no mate." He is rejecting me, publicly, in front of my pack, his guards, and the man who sold me. He is denying the very thing that his own wolf, his own soul, is screaming is true. The pain is instantaneous and blinding. It is not a feeling, but a physical severing. A white, hot agony tears through my chest, as if a vital part of me has been ripped away. I gasp, stumbling backward, my hand flying to the source of the pain. It feels like my heart has been torn in two, rejected, unworthy, broken. The whispers come from the crowd, but they sound like they are inside my own head. My legs tremble, threatening to give out. I look at him, this king, this stranger, this monster who is my other half, and I see nothing but cold, hard duty in his eyes. He has made his choice. He has chosen his crown over his soul, over me. "She will be taken to the borderlands," Kalen commands, his gaze sweeping away from me as if I am no longer worthy of his attention. "To the old trapper's cottage. She is property of the crown now. She will remain there." He turns his back on me, a final, brutal dismissal. He burned the title of mate and kept me as a prisoner. My cousin, the newly minted Lord Marius, smirks, his victory complete. He has his title, and he is finally rid of his wolfless shame. Two of the king's guards, their faces impassive, move to flank me. One of them places a firm hand on my arm. The touch is impersonal, the grip of a jailer. I do not resist. I cannot. The fight has been extinguished from me, drowned in a tidal wave of agony and shame. The bond, or what is left of it, is a gaping, bleeding wound inside me. It radiates a chilling cold, the absence of the warmth I had felt for only a fleeting moment. This is my exile. A gilded cage of shame on the edge of a kingdom ruled by the man who broke me. As they lead me from the hall, I catch one last glimpse of him. He stands tall and straight, the perfect image of a king, but I can smell it. Faintly, beneath the layers of power and control, is the scent of winter turning to ash. He is suffering, too. The knowledge is not a comfort. It is just another layer to my pain. The journey to the borderlands is a blur of misery. The guards are silent, their sense a mixture of duty and a faint, almost imperceptible pity that only makes me feel worse. We travel for the better part of a day, moving away from the life of the central packlands and into the wild, untamed edges of the kingdom. The trees grow thicker here, the air cooler. We finally arrive at a small, dilapidated cottage nestled in a forgotten valley. It is little more than a stone shack with a moss-covered roof and a chimney that leans at a precarious angle. This is my new home, my prison. The guards deposit a few meager supplies, a sack of flour, some salted meat, a flint and steel, and then they leave. Just like that. I am alone. The silence that descends is heavier than any I have ever known. It is the silence of absolute abandonment. I stand in the doorway of the crumbling cottage, the gaping wound in my chest, a constant, throbbing ache. The cold that emanated from Kalen's rejection has settled deep in my bones. It is a permanent chill that no fire can warm. This is my rock bottom, stripped of my home, my identity, and the one person in the world who was supposed to be my sanctuary. I am nothing, a wolfless, rejected omega, the property of a king who does not want me. I sink to the dusty floor, the fight finally draining out of me completely. Tears I had refused to shed in front of them now stream down my face, silent tracks in the grime on my cheeks. What is the point of surviving now? There is nothing left to survive for. The pain of the rejected bond is a siren song, whispering of the peace that would come if I just let go, if I just stopped breathing. But as I sit there, a hollowed out shell of a girl, something flickers deep within me. It is not the phantom wolf that had stirred for Kalen. It is something else, something ancient, cold and fiercely, stubbornly alive. It is a spark of pure, unadulterated spite. He thought he could break me, Marius, Kalen, all of them. They thought they could discard me, and I would simply wither and die. A small, cold voice, a voice that sounds like my own, but feels infinitely older, whispers in the back of my mind. No, I will not give them the satisfaction. I will not die. I will live, if only to be a thorn in their memory. I will survive this. That single defiant thought is an anchor in the storm of my despair. It is not hope. It is vengeance. And it is enough. The first few months are a trial of fire and ice. The cottage is barely habitable, and the wilderness is unforgiving. I learned to set snares, to identify edible plants, to chop wood with an old, rusted axe I find in the shed. My hands, once soft from kitchen work, become calloused and strong. My body, once thin and frail, grows lean and hard with muscle. The physical hardship is a welcome distraction from the constant, gnawing ache in my soul. The rejected bond is a phantom limb, a cold space beside me in the narrow cot, a hollow echo in my heart. Some days the pain is so intense it brings me to my knees, but every time the cold spark of defiance within me flares, and I get back up. One evening, 3 months after my arrival, a different kind of danger finds me. I am outside, gathering firewood, as dusk bleeds across the sky, when a shift in the air makes the hairs on my arms stand up. The normal sounds of the forest, the chirping of insects, the rustle of leaves, fall silent. An unnatural stillness descends, heavy and cloying. The air grows cold, and a scent I have never encountered before drifts on the breeze. It smells of decay, of old graves, and of pure, malevolent hunger. From the shadows between the trees, they emerge. They are not wolves. They are creatures of nightmare, fashioned from darkness and malice. Their forms are vaguely canine, but their bodies are wisps of solidified shadow, their eyes burning embers of red light. They move with a silent, terrifying grace, their claws clicking softly on the stony ground. There are 3 of them, and they are closing in on me, their collective hunger a palpable force. Panic, cold, and sharp lances through me. I have no weapon but the small hatchet in my hand. I am wolfless, human, fragile. Against these things, I am defenseless. One of them lunges, a blur of shadow and teeth. I scream, throwing myself to the side, the hatchet falling from my numb fingers. I scramble backward, my back hitting the cold stone wall of the cottage. They have me cornered. The end has come. I close my eyes, bracing for the tearing of claws, the final agony. But it does not come. Instead, a surge of energy, unlike anything I have ever felt, erupts from the core of my being. It is not the warm, earthy power of a wolf. It is cold, silver, and immense, like the light of the full moon given liquid form. It floods my veins, a torrent of raw, untamed power. My eyes snap open. The world looks different, sharper. The air shimmers with threads of silver light, invisible before. The shadow creatures recoil, hissing, their red eyes wide with what looks like fear. Mine. The voice is back, but it is not a whisper anymore. It is a resonant chord of power, vibrating through my very bones. It is the voice of the ancient thing that has been sleeping inside me. Instinct takes over. I lift my hands, not knowing what I am doing, only that I must. The silver light in the air coalesces around my palms, swirling into orbs of shimmering energy. The creatures hesitate, snarling, torn between their hunger and this new, unexpected threat. With a cry that is half terror and half exultation, I thrust my hands forward. The orbs of light shoot out, striking 2 of the creatures square in the chest. They don't just hit them, they pass through them, and where the light touches, the shadows unravel. The creatures screech, a sound that scrapes at the inside of my skull, and then they dissolve into wisps of black smoke that quickly dissipate into the night. The third one, seeing its companions destroyed, turns and flees back into the darkness of the forest. I stand there, panting, my hands trembling as the last of the silver energy fades from them. The night is silent once more, but it is a different silence. The oppressive weight is gone. I look down at my hands. They are just hands again. Calloused, dirty, but my own. What was that? It was not a wolf. It was magic. A deep, powerful magic, that has been lying dormant inside me, awakened by terror. I am not just a wolfless omega. I am something else, something powerful. And for the first time since my world fell apart, the cold spark of defiance inside me ignites into a blazing fire of purpose. I survived, and now I will learn to fight. From that day forward, my life has a new focus. I spend my days not just surviving, but training. I push the limits of this newfound power, calling on it, trying to shape it. At first, it is wild and unpredictable, exhausting me with even the smallest manifestation. But slowly, I learn its rhythm. It is tied to the moon, stronger when she is full, quieter when she is new. I learn to pull on the silver threads of energy that permeate the forest, to weave them into shields of light or hurl them as weapons. The forest becomes my training ground, the ancient trees, my silent tutors. I am no longer a prisoner in this valley. I am its guardian. The shadow creatures return, but now I am ready. I hunt them, driving them back from my small patch of land, my power growing with every skirmish. I am no longer Elara, the broken girl. I am becoming someone new, someone forged in solitude and silver light. And I wonder, with a grim satisfaction, what the king would think if he could see his discarded property now. My name is Kaelin, and I am a fool. I sit on a throne carved from obsidian and moonlight, the weight of a kingdom on my shoulders. But my crown feels like a ring of thorns. Every night I am haunted by the memory of a girl with eyes the color of a stormy sea and a scent of wild herbs and rain. Elara, my mate. The word is a curse I whisper into the darkness of my chambers. My lichen, the beast that shares my soul, has not been silent since the day I rejected her. He is a constant, snarling fury in the back of my mind. Fool! Coward! You broke us. He is right. I broke us. When I saw her standing in that hall, so small and defiant, my beast recognized her instantly. The bond flared to life, a supernova in my chest, promising a completion I had only dreamed of. But my mind, the mind of a king, saw only the flaw, wolfless. In a world where power is passed through blood and the strength of the wolf, a wolfless queen was unthinkable, a weakness my enemies would exploit. My father's voice was a ghost in my ear, his lessons on duty, strength, and sacrifice echoing from my youth. A king's heart must be stone. Your duty is to the pack, not to your own desires. And so I chose duty. I chose the crown. I publicly denied her, denied the bond, and ripped my own soul in half to do it. The pain should have faded, but it has only grown, a festering wound that refuses to heal. Her pain is my pain. The rejected bond is a chasm of cold that I carry within me. I cannot sleep. Food tastes like ash. The scents of the eager, high-ranking females presented to me are repulsive, turning my stomach. My beast recoils from them, snarling her name. Elara, ours. Only her. My focus is shattered. My counsel murmurs about my distraction, my temper. My rule, once absolute and steady, is beginning to fray at the edges. I am a king in decline, haunted by the ghost of the girl I threw away. To make matters worse, a shadow is falling over my kingdom. Reports from the borderlands speak of strange creatures, beasts of darkness that slaughter livestock and attack travelers. My best warriors can barely harm them. They are like smoke, their claws like razors. They are pushing deeper, a tide of black malevolence that my wolves cannot stem. My patrols in the eastern territories, near the Silverwood lands, have found entire villages silenced, the scent of fear and decay hanging heavy in the air. Lord Marius, the sniveling coward I granted a title, sends pleas for aid, his messages reeking of panic. He is useless. The price I paid for his loyalty was far too high. I pace my chambers, the stone cold beneath my bare feet. The ache for my mate is a physical torment, a fire in my blood that has no release. I sent her to the borderlands, to the very edge of the territory now plagued by these shadow beasts. I condemned her to a life of exile, and now I may have condemned her to death. The thought is a spear of ice through my heart. My lichen howls in agony and rage. Protect, find, mine. He is clawing at the inside of my mind, demanding I go to her, demanding I fix what I have broken. But how can I? How can I face her after what I did? What could I possibly say to the woman whose soul I shattered for the sake of a crumbling crown? The days bleed into weeks, each one a new torture. I push myself harder, leading patrols, trying to burn out the pain with exhaustion. But nothing works. The cold emptiness inside me remains. I am a hollow king, ruling a haunted kingdom. The memory of her scent is the only real thing left, a phantom promise of what I threw away. I am the Alpha King, the most powerful wolf on the continent, and I am utterly, completely alone. I destroyed my one chance at wholeness, and now my kingdom and my soul are paying the price. I am tending to the cuts on my arm, a fresh encounter with a shadow beast having left its mark. When I hear a twig snap behind me, I spin around, my hand instinctively reaching for the silver light that now hums beneath my skin, ready for a fight. But the figure who steps out of the trees is not a creature of darkness. He is a man, a wolf, but his scent is different from any I know. It is calm, like a deep forest pool, smelling of moss, healing herbs, and a quiet strength. He is tall and lean, with kind eyes and a gentle face. He holds his hands up in a gesture of peace. I mean you no harm, he says, his voice soft. I smelled blood. I am a healer. I eye him with suspicion. No one ever comes to this valley. Who are you? I ask, my tone sharp. Solitude has made me wary. My name is Lysander, he replies, his gaze falling to the wound on my arm. I am a wanderer. That is a nasty cut. It has the taint of shadow on it. If you do not cleanse it, it will fester. He is right. The edges of the wound are already turning black, a cold poison seeping into me. Despite my mistrust, the sincerity in his scent is undeniable. I give a curt nod, and he approaches slowly. He kneels, opening a leather pouch he carries, and pulls out a poultice of crushed leaves. The clean, medicinal scent is soothing. "This will sting," he warns, before gently applying it to my arm. The sting is sharp, but it is a clean pain, and I can feel it drawing the shadow's taint from the wound. As he works, he talks, his voice a low, calming melody. He tells me he was exiled from his pack years ago for questioning his alpha's brutal methods. He has wandered the wildlands ever since, finding a purpose in healing those the packs have forgotten. He does not ask why I am here. He does not ask about my lack of a wolf. He simply sees the wounds and tends to them. His touch is respectful, his presence calming. For the first time in a long time, I am in the company of another person who is not a guard, a memory, or a monster. When he is finished, the wound is clean, wrapped in fresh linen. The cold poison is gone. "Thank you," I say, the words feeling strange on my tongue. He smiles, a small, sad smile. "There are too many wounds in this world. It is good to be able to heal one." He looks at me, his gaze thoughtful. "You are strong to survive out here alone, especially with those creatures about. I have seen what they can do." "I'm not just surviving," I say, a hint of pride in my voice. He nods, his eyes showing a flicker of understanding, of admiration. "I can see that." Lysander stays. He says he is weary of wandering, and he sees that this valley needs a protector and a healer. He builds his own small shelter a respectful distance from my cottage. He helps me gather herbs, teaches me more about the forest, and tends to my injuries after my battles with the shadow beasts. He is a quiet, steady presence in my lonely world. He represents a peace I had never thought possible. His scent is safe. His kindness is a balm on my scarred soul. He looks at me and sees a warrior, a survivor. He never knew the broken, wolfless girl. He only knows the woman I have become, and in his quiet, respectful gaze, I begin to see a different kind of future, one free from the pain of a broken bond, a future of quiet companionship and mutual respect. He is the antithesis of Kaelin. He is gentle where the king was cruel, patient where the king was rash. He is a safe harbor in a world of storms, and a part of me, the part that is tired of fighting, begins to wonder if that is enough. The reports from my scouts become more and more dire. The shadow creatures are no longer just a borderland nuisance. They are an invasion. They move like a plague, overwhelming patrols, their numbers seemingly endless. My warriors' claws and teeth, so effective against any normal foe, pass through them like mist unless they can strike the core of the beast, a fleeting target. We are losing. My kingdom is bleeding, and I, its king, am powerless to stop it. One of my scouts, a grizzled old wolf named Fenris, returns from the Eastern Territories more shaken than I have ever seen him. His fur is matted with black, viscous blood that is not his own. My king, he rasps, bowing low. The beasts, they are endless, but there is something else. In the Lost Valley, the one by the old border marker, something is holding them back. I lean forward on my throne, my attention absolute. What do you mean? There is a power there, sire. A light. We saw it from a ridge. It drove them back, burned them like sunlight. The locals, what few are left, they speak of a witch, a spirit of the forest who guards the valley. A witch, a spirit, in the Lost Valley, the valley where I sent her. My heart stops. It cannot be. A wolfless Omega, alone and abandoned. How could she survive, let alone fight back against these monsters? But the location is exact. The old trapper's cottage. My Lycan, who has been a sullen, angry weight for months, suddenly surges with a desperate, violent hope. Her! It is her! Go! Gather my royal guard, I command, my voice hoarse. We ride at once. I will not send another scout. I will not send a patrol. I will go myself. Whether to save her or to witness a miracle, I do not know. I only know that I have to see. I have to know if the fragile hope clawing its way through my despair is real. We ride for 2 days, pushing our wolves to their limits. The land grows darker, more corrupted, the closer we get. The scent of decay is thick in the air. We find the remnants of a patrol, their bodies torn apart, the ground stained black. The threat is more real, more terrifying than the reports could convey. Finally, we reach the ridge overlooking the valley Fenris spoke of, and I see it. The valley below is an oasis of green in a dying landscape, and at its center, near a small stone cottage, a battle is raging. A lone figure stands against a pack of at least a dozen shadow creatures, and she is surrounded by a coruscating aura of pure, silver light. She moves with a dancer's grace and a warrior's fury, her hands weaving patterns in the air, unleashing bolts of energy that incinerate the creatures of darkness. It is her, Elara, but it is not the girl I remember. The broken, trembling Omega is gone. In her place stands a goddess of moonlight and wrath. Her hair is longer, wilder. Her body is lean and powerful. She is magnificent. She is terrifying. And she is my mate. The bond, which has been a source of constant cold pain, explodes back to life. It is not the gentle hum of recognition I felt before. It is a tempest, a hurricane of emotion, her fury, her pain, her strength, and my own overwhelming, suffocating regret all crashing together. The force of it staggers me, and I have to grip the pommel of my saddle to stay upright. My guards murmur in awe and disbelief. They too see the power, the impossible reality of the wolfless girl single-handedly holding back the tide of darkness. She dispatches the last creature with a final, blinding flash of light, and then she stands, panting, in the center of the clearing, the silver aura slowly fading around her. And then I see him. A man emerges from the trees, his scent calm and herbal. He goes to her, his hand gently touching her arm, his expression full of concern. It is Lysander, the healer. He speaks to her, and she gives him a small, weary nod. They stand together, a unit, a protector and a healer, and a wave of jealousy so primal, so possessive, rips through me that it is all I can do not to let out a feral roar. Mine. My lichen is screaming, clawing, demanding I go down there and tear that male apart. I cannot. I have no right. I dismount, my legs unsteady. I must do this as a king, not as a beast. I need her help. My kingdom needs her power. I start down the path into the valley, my guards following silently behind me. The closer I get, the more intense the bond becomes, a physical pressure in my chest. Her scent fills my senses. The wild herbs and rain are still there, but now they are layered with something more. The clean, cold scent of moonlight and raw, untamed power. It is the most intoxicating thing I have ever smelled. She sees us coming. Her head snaps up and her body tenses. The healer, Lysander, steps slightly in front of her, a protective posture that sends another jolt of fury through me. Her eyes, those stormy seas I have drowned in every night for months, lock onto mine, and there is no fear in them. There is no pleading. There is only a cold, hard anger that chills me to the bone. The hopeful girl I rejected is gone forever. In her place is a queen who has built a throne of her own pain. I stop 10 paces from her, the king who threw her away, now coming to her as a beggar. Elara, I say, my voice rough. King Kalin, she replies, and my title sounds like an insult on her tongue. Her voice is not the soft whisper I remember. It is low and steady, laced with steel. You are a long way from your throne. Have you come to inspect your property? The words are a slap in the face, and I deserve it. I deserve every bit of her scorn. I came because my kingdom is under attack, I say, trying to keep my voice even. By those creatures. You have a power that can fight them. I need your help. She laughs, a short, bitter sound devoid of any humor. You need my help? The wolfless Omega, the unworthy mate, the piece of property you traded for a title? Suddenly I am useful to you. Each question is a perfectly aimed blow, striking at the heart of my shame. Yes, I admit, my pride tasting like dust. I need you. My answer is no, she says, her voice as cold and final as a tombstone. She turns her back on me, a deliberate echo of the last thing I did to her in the Great Hall. The dismissal is absolute. Leave my valley. The healer, Lysander, gives me a look that is a mixture of pity and contempt before turning to follow her toward the cottage. I am left standing there, the Alpha King, the ruler of all, dismissed and rejected by the one person I need most. The bond between us is a raging inferno of her fury and my desperation. My wolf is howling, a desolate sound in the ruins of my soul. Fix it, fix it. But I do not know how. How do you rebuild a world you were the one to burn to the ground? I cannot leave. I will not. I order my guards to make camp on the edge of the clearing. I will stay until she listens. For days, I exist in a state of self-inflicted torment. I watch her from a distance. I see her training, her power growing more focused, more deadly. I see her with him, with Lysander. I watch them share meals, talk quietly by the fire. I see the easy companionship between them, the gentle respect in his eyes when he looks at her. It is everything I should have given her. Every shared smile, every quiet moment they have together is a fresh twist of the knife in my gut. My desperation grows with each passing hour. Reports from the capital are growing worse. The shadows are advancing. I am losing my kingdom while I sit here, a supplicant at the feet of the woman I wronged. Finally, I can bear it no more. I approach her cottage one evening as dusk settles, the sky bruised purple and orange. She is sitting outside, sharpening the blade of the small hatchet I saw her drop months ago. Lysander is nowhere in sight. This is my chance. Elara, I begin, my voice raw. She does not look up. I thought I told you to leave. I cannot, I say, taking another step closer. I stop when I see her hand tighten on the hatchet. I was wrong. The words feel inadequate, pebbles tossed into a canyon. What I did to you. It was the act of a coward and a fool, not a king. She finally looks up, her eyes narrowed. And you think saying that changes anything? No, I say quickly. Words are meaningless. I know that. From inside my tunic, I pull out the rolled scroll, the official document bearing my royal seal, the one that names Amarius as Lord of Silverwood. It is the proof of her sale. It is the symbol of my sin. I came to you as a king, asking for aid, but now I am here only as a man, the man who hurt you. I unroll the scroll, the parchment crackling in the quiet evening air. Then I hold it to the flame of her small campfire. The corner catches, turning black before orange flames lick up the edges. I hold it until the heat scorches my fingertips, watching as the ink that declared her cousin a lord turns to smoke and ash. I watch the physical record of my transaction, of her humiliation, burn away to nothing. When it is done, I drop the last burning corner and crush the embers under my boot. I have sent word to Silverwood, I say, my voice low and steady, my eyes locked on hers. Marius is stripped of his title. He is an exile. The price I paid for you has been unpaid. It changes nothing of what I did, but it is a beginning. It is an admission. I was wrong. I was so wrong, Elara. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to earn the right to even speak your name. I do not ask for her help. I do not ask for forgiveness. I just state the truth. I see a flicker of something in her eyes, a crack in the icy facade. The rage is still there, but it is joined by a sliver of confusion, of shock. She did not expect this. She expected a king's demands, not a broken man's confession. I have given her nothing to fight against, only the raw, ugly truth of my regret. I turn and walk back to my camp, leaving her in the firelight with the ashes of her sail settling at her feet. It is not enough. I know it is not enough, but it is all I have to offer. I watch him walk away, the rigid set of his shoulders speaking of a pain that mirrors my own. The sight of that scroll burning, the symbol of my shame turning to ash, has unsettled something deep inside me. He burned the title and kept me, but now, it seems, he regrets the choice he made. His pain feels real. The bond thrums with the sincerity of his regret, a low, sorrowful note that resonates with the ache in my own chest. It makes him harder to hate. Later that night, Lysander finds me staring into the fire, the ashes of the scroll a dark smear on the ground. He sits beside me, his presence a familiar comfort. His pain is great, he says softly. He is not a wolf who deals in deception. He feels the truth of emotions. He deserves it, I say, but the words lack their usual conviction. Perhaps, Lysander agrees. He looks at me, his kind eyes searching my face. But his suffering does not lessen yours. And I see the way you look at him, Elara. The bond between you, even broken, is a powerful thing. It is a storm that I cannot calm, a wound that my herbs cannot heal. He reaches out and takes my hand, his touch warm and steady. You are a queen in your own right. You deserve a partner who can stand with you in the heart of the storm, not one who offers you shelter from it. I can offer you peace, but I cannot compete with fate, no matter how cruel it has been. My throat tightens. He is letting me go. He is giving me the freedom to face this, to make my own choice without the complication of his gentle affection. He sees the truth more clearly than I do. I will not be your second choice, he says, his voice full of a quiet dignity. And you should never have to choose me out of safety. Find your peace, Elara, whatever that looks like. He squeezes my hand one last time, then rises. I will take my leave in the morning. The lands to the south need a healer. He smiles, a sad, final smile, and then he is gone, leaving me alone with my turmoil and the ghost of a king who is trying to crawl his way back from damnation. The next day, as the sun rises, Lysander leaves as promised. His departure leaves a void, a silence where his calming presence used to be. Now, it is just me and Kaelin and the army of shadows gathering at our borders. The air itself feels heavy, pregnant with impending violence. A massive assault is coming. I can feel it in the way the silver light of my magic thrums nervously under my skin. And it is worse than I imagined. They come not in packs, but in a tidal wave of darkness, a shrieking, clawing sea of black. And at their head is a figure cloaked in deeper shadow, a being of immense power that radiates a cold far more terrifying than the creatures it commands. But it is not this shadow master that freezes the blood in my veins. It is the man who stands beside him, his face twisted in a mask of greedy triumph, Marius. "Cousin," he calls out, his voice dripping with venomous glee. "Fancy meeting you here. I see you found a new trick. How delightful." Kalen moves to stand beside me, his body a solid wall of muscle and fury. A low growl rumbles in his chest. "Marius, you traitorous dog. You have allied yourself with these things." "They are my key to real power, Kalen," Marius sneers. "Something you know all about. This shadow, he calls himself the Devourer. He was drawn here by a scent, the scent of ancient power, the power he wants to consume." Marius's eyes fix on me, gleaming with a feverish light. It took me a while to figure it out, to piece together the old legends. Our bloodline isn't just a minor alpha line, it goes back further, to the moon priestesses, the ones whose magic your ancestors stole when they bound themselves to wolves. You are not wolfless, cousin. You are the original form, and I am here to claim my birthright. The Devourer lets out a chilling hiss, its attention locked on me. It is not just drawn to my power. It wants to devour it, to take it for its own. And Marius, my pathetic, ambitious cousin, has led it right to me. The battle begins. Kalen and his guards shift, their massive wolf forms a bulwark of fur and fang against the tide of shadow creatures. I stand with them, a beacon of silver light, my magic lashing out, burning through the ranks of the enemy. We fight side by side, Kalen and I. The broken bond between us is a live wire, humming with a strange harmony of violence and shared purpose. His strength covers my vulnerability. My light destroys what his fangs cannot touch. We are a perfect, terrible weapon, but there are too many. For every one we destroy, two more take its place. Marius, coward that he is, stays behind the lines, directing the creatures, his eyes always on me. He is waiting for an opening. It comes when I overextend, unleashing a massive wave of light that vaporizes a dozen creatures, but leaves me momentarily drained, gasping for breath. In that instant, Marius signals the Devourer. The Shadow Master moves, faster than anything I have ever seen, not toward me, but toward a point just beside me. It is a feint. Marius himself, holding a black obsidian dagger, lunges from the shadows, his aim true for my heart. There is no time to react, no time to raise a shield. I see the triumphant glint in his eye, the final victory he has craved. This is the end. But then, a dark shape slams into me, knocking me off my feet. It is Kalen. He throws himself between me and the blade, not in his wolf form, but as a man. He chose to shield me with his more vulnerable body. The obsidian dagger meant for me sinks deep into his chest. A terrible, guttural cry of pain is torn from his throat. He stumbles back, his eyes wide with shock, his hand going to the hilt of the dagger buried just below his collarbone. Marius stares, his plan gone awry. Kalen looks not at his wound, but at me. His only concern is for me. "Elara," he gasps, blood bubbling on his lips. He collapses to his knees, his strength failing. The battle rages around us. but our world has shrunk to this small patch of blood-soaked ground. He proved it, not with words, not with promises, but with his body, with his life. He took the blow meant for me without a second of hesitation. He looks up at me, his stormy eyes clouded with pain, but shining with a fierce, unwavering devotion. With a great effort, he reaches up, grips the front of my tunic, and pulls himself closer. He is bleeding, dying, and yet he offers me the last thing he has. He tilts his head, baring his throat in the ultimate act of submission. A king, kneeling before his discarded queen. "My life is yours," he rasps, his voice a broken whisper. "Command it. End it. It was always yours. You are my queen, Elara. With or without me, you are free." He has offered me everything. His apology, his kingdom, his life, and now my freedom. The grovel is complete. He is not trying to win me back. He is simply giving me back the power he stole from me, proving that he has finally become the man worthy of his title and of me. The ice around my heart, the fortress of anger and pain I have lived in for so long, does not just crack. It shatters. It explodes into a million pieces. Seeing him kneeling before me, bleeding out from a wound meant for me, his life offered up so freely undoes me completely. All the bitterness, all the rage, all the cold satisfaction I took in his suffering evaporates like mist in the face of this absolute sacrifice, mine. The word is no longer a whisper of a forgotten self. It is a roar that shakes my very soul. It is the voice of the ancient power within me, the cry of the mate bond, the scream of my own heart, all unified in a single, desperate command. Ours. Protect. Heal. My knees give out and I sink to the ground in front of him. The battle, Marius, the devourer, it all fades into a muted background roar. The only thing that matters is the man bleeding out at my feet, my mate. I reach out, my trembling fingers tracing the line of his jaw before coming to rest on his bared throat, over the frantic pulse of his life fading away. The touch is electric. It is not the spark of attraction, but the cataclysmic connection of two halves of a soul, finally, consciously, coming together. "I accept," I whisper, the words tasting of salt and sorrow and a fierce, burgeoning hope. "I accept the bond. I accept you. All of you. The broken king, the humbled man, the wolf who is my other half." The moment the words leave my lips, the bond slams into place. It is not a gentle joining. It is a supernova. The cold, aching void inside me is filled with a blinding, brilliant warmth. His strength, his pain, his regret, his overwhelming love, it all pours into me. And my power, my pain, my forgiveness, my own fierce love pours into him. We are no longer two separate, broken beings. We are one section. And with that unity comes a flood of power unlike anything I have ever felt. my lunar magic, cold and silver, intertwines with the raw, earthy power of his alpha blood. It is a perfect, devastating harmony. I press my hand flat against the wound in his chest, ignoring the sticky warmth of his blood. I close my eyes and call on everything I am: priestess, warrior, mate, and I pour it all into him. The silver light of my magic, now infused with the golden warmth of the completed bond, flows from my palm into his body, sealing torn flesh, knitting broken bone, purging the dark magic of the obsidian blade. I feel his heart stutter, then beat stronger. I feel the life, the strength, flowing back into him. He gasps, his eyes flying open, and he stares at me with raw, naked awe. He is healed. We are whole. We rise together, a single fluid motion. The world comes rushing back into focus, but it is different now. I can feel his strength as if it is my own, and he can feel the river of moonlight that flows through my veins. He looks at me, and there are no more words needed. His eyes say everything. My queen. My gaze answers, my king. We turn to face our enemies, no longer a desperate king and a vengeful witch, but a unified force of nature. Kalen lets out a roar, a true Alpha King's challenge that shakes the valley, and this time, my own power answers it, a silent shriek of silver light that resonates with his call. The shadow creatures recoil, hissing in terror at the combined aura we now project. Marius's face is a mask of disbelief and fury. "No, that power is mine!" he screams and charges, brandishing another dagger. He does not get within 10 feet. Kalen moves, a blur of speed I could never have matched alone, and intercepts him. There is no fight. There is only judgment. Kalen disarms him with contemptuous ease, his hand closing around my cousin's throat. "You are a traitor to your blood and a stain on our people," Kalen growls, his voice rumbling with the power of the earth itself. There is a sharp crack, and Marius falls, his ambition silenced forever. Now only the devourer remains. It hisses, its shadowy form swelling as it draws on the fear and death around it. It is a being of immense darkness. But we are the Alpha and the Moon. We are the balance. Kalen draws its attention, his wolf form a magnificent, terrifying cyclone of fang and claw, while I gather the light. I do not just pull on the energy around me. I pull on the bond, on the limitless well of power that now exists between us. A sphere of light, brighter than the sun, blindingly pure, forms between my hands. Kalen sees it, and with a final, savage lunge, he drives the creature back, giving me a clear shot. I unleash the light. It strikes the devourer, and this time, there is no screeching, no slow unraveling. There is only a silent, absolute annihilation. The darkness is consumed by the light, and then there is nothing. The battle is over. The remaining shadow creatures, their master gone, dissolve into harmless smoke. Silence falls over the valley, broken only by the panting of the surviving guards and the song of the completed bond thrumming between Kaelin and me. Our return to the capital is not a quiet affair. We return not as a king and his mysterious consort, but as two sovereigns. Kaelin stands before the assembled pack leaders of the entire Northern Alliance, my hand in his, our joined power an undeniable statement. He tells them everything. He speaks of his pride, his folly, and his rejection of me. He speaks of my hidden heritage not as a flaw, but as a sacred and powerful truth that their ancestors tried to bury. The old laws were born of fear, he declares, his voice ringing across the great square. Fear of a power they did not understand. Today, we end that fear. Alara is not my consort. She is my partner, my equal. She is the lunar queen to my alpha king. He holds up our joined hands. Our laws will reflect this new truth. Power is not just in the wolf. It is in the heart, in the blood, in the soul. No one in this kingdom will ever be judged unworthy again. Section A, New Era begins. The changes are not easy, but with our united strength, we enforce them. We rebuild what was broken, not just in the lands ravaged by the shadows, but in the very fabric of our society. The line between wolf and wolfless begins to blur, replaced by a respect for individual strength, whatever its form. Months later, I stand on the grand balcony of the Obsidian Palace, overlooking the moonlit capital. The air is cool and clean. Kaelin comes to stand behind me, his arms wrapping around my waist, his chin resting on my shoulder. The bond between us is a warm, steady hum, a constant comforting presence. There are scars. A faint, silver line marks the spot on his chest where Marius's dagger struck him, a permanent reminder of his sacrifice. And deep in my soul, there is a memory of cold, a shadow of the girl who was broken and abandoned. The wounds have healed, but the scars remain. They are a part of our story. He presses a kiss to my temple, his voice a low, intimate rumble against my ear. My queen. I turn in his arms to face him. I look into his stormy eyes, and I see no trace of the arrogant, conflicted king I first met. I see my mate, my partner, a man who went to hell and clawed his way back, not for a crown, but for me. My love for him is not the blind, faded adoration of a girl. It is the steady, fierce, and knowing love of a woman who has seen the worst of him and chose to help him become the best of himself. My king, I reply, my hand coming up to cup his cheek. The future is not a fairy tale. It is something far better. It is real. It is earned. It is scarred, but it is whole. And it is ours.